Welcome back to the Clinical Data Management course. If you are planning a career in clinical research, clinical data management, regulatory affairs, or pharmacovigilance, then understanding basic clinical research terminology is extremely important. Many beginners entering the pharmaceutical industry often get confused by terms like protocol, CRF, SAE, ADR, subject, and patient. These terms are used daily in clinical trials, and without understanding them properly, it becomes difficult to understand the overall clinical research process. So, in today's session, we will learn some of the most important beginner level clinical research terms that every fresher and life science student must know. Let's start with the term protocol. A protocol is the official written plan of a clinical trial. It explains how the study will be conducted from start to finish. The protocol contains important information such as study objectives, patient eligibility criteria, dosage details, study procedures, safety monitoring methods, data collection plans, statistical analysis methods, and trial timelines. In simple words, the protocol acts like a blueprint or instruction manual for the entire clinical trial. Every person involved in the study, including investigators, CRAs, clinical data managers, and sponsors, must follow the approved protocol strictly. Before any clinical trial begins, the protocol must be reviewed and approved by ethics committees and regulatory authorities. Now let's understand CRF.CRF stands for Case Report Form. A case report form is a structured document used to collect clinical trial data from each study participant. It includes information such as patient demographics, medical history, laboratory results, treatment details, adverse events, and study observations. Earlier, CRFs were paper based, but today most clinical trials use electronic case report forms, also known as ECRFs. Clinical data management teams work extensively with CRFs because this is the primary source of clinical trial data collection. In simple terms, the CRF is the document where all study related patient information is recorded during a clinical trial. Next comes SAE.SAE stands for Serious Adverse Event. A serious adverse event is any medical occurrence during a clinical trial that results in death, hospitalization, disability, life threatening conditions, or other serious health complications. For example, if a patient experiences severe organ failure or requires emergency hospitalization after taking the investigational drug, it may be classified as an SAE. SAEs must be reported immediately to sponsors, ethics committees, and regulatory authorities because patient safety is the highest priority in clinical research. Clinical research teams carefully investigate whether the SAE is related to the study drug or caused by another medical condition. Now let's understand ADR. ADR stands for Adverse Drug Reaction. An adverse drug reaction is an unwanted or harmful reaction caused specifically by a medicine or investigational drug when taken at normal doses. For example, severe allergic reactions, liver toxicity, or unexpected side effects caused directly by a drug may be considered ADRs. The important difference between an SAE and an ADR is that an SAE focuses on the seriousness of the event, while an ADR focuses on whether the drug caused the reaction. Not every SAE is an ADR and not every ADR is serious. Understanding this difference is very important for professionals working in clinical data management, pharmacovigilance, and regulatory affairs. Now let's discuss an important beginner level confusion, subject versus patient. In normal healthcare settings, the word patient is used for a person receiving medical treatment from a doctor. However, in clinical research, the term subject or study subject is more commonly used. A subject is a person who voluntarily participates in a clinical trial after signing an informed consent form. The term subject is used because clinical research participants are part of a scientific study, not just regular medical treatment. In some studies, healthy volunteers may also participate even if they are not patients suffering from a disease. That is why the term subject is preferred in clinical research terminology. Understanding these basic terms is extremely important because they are used daily in clinical trials, clinical data management activities, monitoring visits, regulatory documents, and safety reporting. As you continue learning clinical research and CDM concepts, you will frequently encounter these terms in protocols, databases, CRFs, monitoring reports, and regulatory submissions. Building a strong understanding of basic terminology helps freshers communicate confidently during interviews and professional work. In the next session, we will understand end-to-end flow of data in clinical data management.
Subscribe to M.Pharm Global. Stay informed on the latest in pharmaceuticals. Get exclusive updates and insights delivered to your inbox. Subscribe now.